Hi everyone, good morning. It's Wolf Ranch Homestead here on Sunday, and we're gonna go take a walk out here with the goats today. Watch our feet down here in case of any snakes. I managed to get all this mowed so we could see a little bit better, so we could start coming out here and taking walks again, because it's going to be cooling down a little bit over the next few days, especially starting on Tuesday. I believe we're going to have a little cold streak come through, and anticipating some lows in the upper 50s, which will be crazy. Now that's not permanent, we're not getting all the way into fall yet, but it's going to be a nice break. The goats are getting out for their breakfast, and we're gonna walk here with them, see what everything looks like, and also just enjoy the day, enjoy the cool weather this morning. Try not to run into some spider webs. I'm gonna grab a stick here. I always called them spider sticks when I was a kid because I would walk down the trail at my grandmother's. She had, pardon me. Oh, wow, hold on, sorry. I just saw whatever these flowers are. Look at that. I don't know what they are, but that's pretty. I've never actually seen those before. There's one down there. There's one over there. Wow. Those are neat. I used to walk down the trail at my grandmother's. She had about, 40 some odd acres or so. And I would go visit on the weekends. And if we weren't doing chores, I'd be out in the woods. And especially this time of year, the spiders would build across the trail, especially those, I think they're called black and yellow garden spiders. There'd be a bunch of those, and they'd like to build right at face level. So you'd walk down the trail and you couldn't hardly see it, and you would just run all into a spider web. So I would pick up a nice little stick like this and do kind of a back and forth, almost like how little hummingbirds will do with their wings. Do a little figure 8 with the stick as I walked in front of me, just to carefully get the webs out of the way. And then if you had a spider on the end, you go over and put him somewhere else, but keep a little stick with you when you're out in the woods if you get a lot of spiders, and just do like that out in front of you and get those spider webs out of the way. Somebody's been digging over here. A lot of different critters use this trail, and it's a shame that actually, is that where it was? It might be. No, it's a little bit further up, I think. We had a persimmon tree out here we've visited before, but that persimmon tree died off and fell down during a storm. So we don't have any persimmons right here for them to visit, but stuff will still use the trail here. And we've got a whiff at the moment. It smells like some type of, like maybe fox urine or something like that. But there's all sorts of critters out here. There's fox, coyote, possum, raccoon, woodchuck, a lot of birds, squirrels, and we've got the little flying squirrels too out here. I finally got to see one of those walking with my husband a while back, and they're cute little things. We usually see them at night. Botons over here, and Yusuke is back here and Dad's over there. We've got another little tree back there that must have went and leaned over during some storms. This stuff, whatever it is, I can't remember what it's called, but it just grows up like a weed. The goats really like eating it, and the poultry like to munch on those leaves too. And it's almost funny because when you cut this stuff, if you cut it down low, like hay, that's kind of what it looks like. It'll look like some dried hay laying out there, but it will take over like this. And it wasn't that bad before, but when the trail kind of grew up this year, it just sprouted and ran with it. But you can see that's right up there, Allie. And they'll have to enjoy this while they can because this stuff will die off. And then about the only things that are really left besides some evergreen type things, some of this hedge out here, and the bamboo. Mosquitoes aren't too bad, but might have to keep walking so they don't bite me. There's a funny story. I think it's this right here, actually. I think this one little hedge right here that's curved. I think this used to, when it looks like it's died off, but when it did have leaves and it was heavier, this would bend over a lot more into kind of an arch. We would walk out here during the evening times on the trail, and I can't remember what we called it, but we had this little owl that would always sit here at night. Real tiny little thing. Not sure what species it was, but we would walk out here at night, and almost every time that little owl seemed like it would be sitting right here on this little branch. It's funny where you will see things and remember them. Just like at one point, I put a bird feeder out here before that on this little branch, and all the little wild birds would come out and visit. And I noticed too, we've walked back this way looking for glass bottles, and we were trying to be careful in the wintertime because there was a tree that had I guess rotted and fell over and leaned in the top of some other trees, so it was kind of hanging there. And that tree is finally fallen. You can see right here though, that's a real big dead one. It's leaning real heavy, so it's kind of leaned into another tree, but it's not that big of a tree that it's leaning into, so that might go down one day in the future. But the tree next to it over here, that's a really big tree. I think it's an oak. Not sure what type though. We'll walk a little bit further here. I'm also looking down here, seeing if we can see anything. Found a few of those knife points right here. So I look for real bright pieces that look like they've been worked. And I'll pick them up and kind of look them over. I look for smaller ones too to see if there might be a little arrowhead, but like that right there where it's real kind of bright colored, usually the ones I find, they're real shiny. And that one side there is kind of, it won't zoom in for us, but that one side is real smooth down, but just can't tell. It doesn't look like anything really. But we'll look for stuff like that to see if we can find anything. Because that's what I found. I looked for all the different stones down in the creek branch and on the trail. I looked to see if I can find that shape or find that working on them, but everything I've found so far has always been quartz. And I'm not sure how old they are, but it sure is crazy to think about something from so long ago being found by another person in the future. I know people sometimes sell them. I would donate them to our museum here, but they have a real big collection already. I think from one gentleman himself. And so I just put them up for safekeeping. I'll label them with when and where they were found, and then put them up safe. I don't really think, you know, to each their own, but I don't think it would be right to sell them. I think just putting them up, and then maybe one day if, I think that collection might have been on loan, but maybe one day do something like that and just donate the collection, or people can look at it in the future, learn about our history. Here they come. Yeah, you were like trying to take off and stay back that way. They're real happy about this, that we can get out here and walk around a little bit, because I think they've been missing this too. I sure have. I like getting out here, walking around in the woods and just stretching my legs and seeing what all's passing through, all the different tracks. It's still a little bit too grown up, but eventually we'll get down there towards the branch, and they'll play on their log that they like down there, and we'll walk through the water and look for some more bottles, look for any artifacts. Like we try to mention every time for people, especially that are newer, seems like there were a lot of people that had, that was kind of the commonplace thing, was to have these trash piles, especially with glass bottles. And so we have a lot of glass bottles, not only that we'll find in the woods out here, but that wash down the creek from other people's trash piles. And the glass bottles, most of them are from like the 1950s to 1970s range. Anything from liquor bottles, you know, alcohol, beer, to ketchup bottles, to jam jars. The one I think that I found the most common would be the old brown glass Clorox bottles. There have even been some older like Avon jars, like little perfume bottles. And it's interesting. We're going to do that hopefully here when it gets a little bit cooler next few days, and get some of our bottles that we found and do another glass bottle ID video. And see what all we have. It's really interesting to pick them up and just learn more about them. You take those bottles and you can flip them over and look at the markings on the bottom and get different information on them, about maybe when they were manufactured, what plant they were manufactured at. That plant, you'll know what, really, you'll know what state they were manufactured in. What are you doing? And a lot of the times, the jars, maybe the shape of it, maybe there's some raised lettering, maybe there's even still labels or something on it that you can tell sometimes what was in the jars. So even though they're not too terribly old, it's real recent stuff, it's still fun to try to figure out where they were made, when they were made, what they contain, learn more about it. You just really want to keep jumping up there. You'll get plenty of chances to jump down there on the logs. Our little wild azalea, it's still real green and leafed out. What'd you get into that you're sneezing so much? I'm curious looking at him over here. I wonder if he'll do his recall, since we haven't practiced in a little bit and I don't have anything on me treat wise. Put our stick down out here. I wonder if he'll actually do a recall. Yusuke, here. Yusuke, here. Good boy. Good boy. He said, you don't even have anything. What are you doing? Let's pick him something over here so we can give him a treat when he does it next time. Let's see, there's a little spider web right in here. You can't hardly see it, but all this little stuff kind of hanging in the air is in that spider web. We'll walk around and find a different piece of brush to give him. Let's see. There's a little piece. So now when he comes over, he'll have a snack. So Yusuke knows a lot of different things, but the one that's really helpful is, he heard his name. The one that's really helpful is the recall. So if there's some kind of potential problem, I need him to come over to me. It's a good practical thing. So he's pretty far off now. Let's see if he'll do it, because what I want to do is say his name and he turns around and looks at me and then comes over to me. Yusuke, here. Yusuke, here. Yusuke, here. There you go. I had to hold his little branch up. Good. Do you have burrs on your face? Really? I think he seemed like he was kind of behind the brush where maybe he couldn't see me too well. We'll walk a little bit further and then turn around. You're talking about where that owl was at earlier. It made me think about this little crooked tree right here that's kind of growing up at an angle, and the things that end up being landmarks in your mind. And I'm always going to think about this, even if it ever falls over, because it is leaning so bad. But I'll always be thinking about this tree, because from facing the other direction, I have a picture where I'm standing further back this way and I'm turned around looking at this from further back, but there's a picture of our little cattle dog standing here with that tree in the background. It's just I think the prettiest picture I've ever managed to take of her. And so I see that tree. My goodness. See that tree and think about her sitting there. Photon, what are you doing? Why are you so far back over there? Come here, goat. Make your way this way. You're too far away. You're a herd. The herd's supposed to stay together. Goodness gracious. But I'll always think about that little tree there being above her in the background, getting a really good picture. Now I found some bits and pieces of stuff right here too. That one right there, that's a real thin piece, and it's got, oh, you can't hardly see it. It's got, goodness gracious. But it has like a little, kind of, it almost looks like a little work bit on the side, but if I'm ever unsure if it really, I can't tell that's exactly what it is, I'll just put it right back on the trail. there's a really clear, goodness, something hit the tin behind me. At the little hummingbird gazebo. Because even that one, the one I just picked up, is still interesting. And then that one right there too, the real kind of shiny one in the middle, and it's got those little ridges on the side. Kind of actually on both sides, but you can see right there. But again, it's just not where I can really tell. There's a piece right there that's, even that, like that's a interesting one. The sides of it there. But that's usually how I find them out here. I haven't ever really been actively looking for them. I just kind of stumble across them doing something else. I was digging up some little rocks for a project one time to go around a little tree, kind of like a little border for it. And I found one while I was digging those other rocks up. You guys ought to be happy. We've had a long spin out here. Nope, you're just gonna keep sneezing. You sound like you got gas, but you're sneezing. There's a little piece right there. I hear some buzzing around us. I wonder if there's a hummingbird out here, but I can't quite tell. I just stopped for a second because I saw those tracks and I was like, what is that? And I realized it was the goats. They're kind of similar to the deer, but yeah, the goats kind of have more of a rounded hoof. Their print's a little bit thicker and kind of more spread apart. Somebody ate some bay leaves. I can smell it. You've got good breath. They won't eat a lot of it, but what they do, if they get a little bite of it, it smells good. It's real nice out today. It's a lot cooler. I'm real glad of that. That's why we're out here, because we've got a lot of cloud cover. So that has helped a lot. You can see it just looks gray. There's no blue, there's no real individual clouds. And I think we're expecting a little bit of rain, but it's just nice that it feels so cool. The sun looks like it's back this way somewhere. A little bit more bright. But we'll walk back over. I'm gonna head back this way and I'll show you kind of where that little tree was, where I was talking about the picture. I think it was somewhere like this. I think she was right here in the road, and I had my camera turned the other way and took the picture of her in the fall. And the tree is all greened out now, but you can kind of see it right here. And just that one particular tree in the background was just like a little marker. little vine. Right? You always have to have the last word. A little vine here. I think it was a red variety of a morning glory. I think our jessamine ended up dying off, and I put the morning glory seeds down in here. It didn't bloom out this year, but it has vined out a lot, which is really nice. Let's not eat this, guys. Go this way. You're gonna go, whoa. Oh, you didn't. Surprise. Usually if I try to make him go a certain direction, he gets fussy about it. Come on. Yeah, let's go down the rest of the trail. Come on, everybody else is taking off on us. Let's go this way. Ew, what is that? I can't tell if that's a disintegrated mushroom, but there's like a brown there, so I don't know if it's something went to the potty there or what. But that's a long video for today, so we will end it here and get charged up to hopefully do a hummingbird stream later. We hope you all have enjoyed. Trying to get him to walk past the cedar tree without eating it. We hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend, or whenever you're watching this. Hopefully it's a good day for you. Here we are almost at the end of August, which is really hard to believe. Football season started up, and we've got fall around the corner. It's just getting back into that real nice weather. I know some people really do like summertime, and I like when the hummingbirds are here, obviously, and some of the other really pretty bird species and all things flowering. But I sure do love fall and winter when you get out here and walk a lot more and explore. And everything's kind of died back, and you can look out through the woods and, you know, maybe see a turkey or deer out here and just explore a little bit. So we'll be looking forward to that. And we'll get to do, for anybody that's new, we'll do longer goat walk videos. Half the time we'll ramble, kind of talk about what we see. The other part of the time we'll do some quiet ones where you can just enjoy looking around and hearing everything. If there's anything we want to point out while we're doing the quiet ones, I'll just usually use a little stick to point, and we'll kind of focus in on it, but everything will be real quiet, so it's kind of like a good walk in nature. Another thing I want to do that we've had suggested is I want to get out here and set the camera up and just record the woods. Just record the sounds out here. I mean, there's, you know, some background noise, but just set up out here and just see what's out in the woods, and just enjoy nature a little bit more. More glass bottle videos. Need to do some feeder reviews and some other stuff. We've mainly just been doing our live streams and shorts here lately, but look forward to a lot more coming from us here as we get into some more cool weather. But again, hopefully you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, until the next video or live stream, take care, everybody.